Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Mike Rennick. Scott Williams was recently in the news as a Southeast Missourian difference maker, and he's here representing the Parks and Recreation Foundation. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
Was it a surprise?
Yes, it was a surprise. I didn't expect it. Don't look for things like that, but it was definitely a surprise, and I appreciate it.
And I know you're a very humble man and don't like to talk about things like that, but a little bit inside, it's got to be nice to be recognized for the time that you've put in, and you've put a lot of time in.
Yeah, I kid everybody. I said they wait till you get old and they start giving you things. So so I do. I've spent a long time in this community doing things like that, so it's nice to be recognized.
So 30 years with the Cape Park and Rec?
A little bit over, yeah.
A little bit over that?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm coming up on 35 years here.
35 years.
Yeah.
So, if you go back 35 years or more, what was it about Park and Rec, Cape Park and Rec, or just Park and Rec in general that kind of lit the fire for you?
Well, actually, my mom was the one that kind of identified it. I was trying to find a college major that would fit me, and she just happened to look in CMO's guide and said, you always plan things in high school and as a kid, the neighborhood games and all this stuff. And so she said, try recreation. So I contacted the counselor at the time over here, and that's where it started.
So you're a CMO grad?
CMO grad, yep,
All right.
1988.
All right, fantastic. And then jumped into Cape Park and Rec shortly after that? Or?
Yeah, I did my internship there, and then the director at the time, Steve Bone, offered me a position right after my internship. So he got my start.
So 35 years. I'm not going to ask you to dial it all the way back, but over those years, how have things changed with the Cape Park and Rec?
Immensely. It's come in waves, but in the early days we didn't have very many facilities, so we did a lot of our programming just in the parks and by shelters. And after the Osage Center and Shawnee Park Complex were built, that was our biggest first wave of facilities to add to our repertoire of programs and leagues and tourism. And then when we passed our first park tax, that built more and improved the golf course, added on to Osage, built the water park. And then, we had the Sportsplex was built years later, and then PRS2, our park tax, passed again. So we've been lucky. Our community supported us. Last time like 87% to 13. So our community is why we're so successful. They've provided the facilities and the respect and the drive for us to go out and do more.
I've lived in Cape since '89, and it's amazing just to see how things have progressed. So many different options when it comes to Park and Rec, and you mentioned the Sportsplex and Water Park, and what's happening at Capitol Hall right now. Yeah. There's growth, and it's because the citizens have gotten behind and they see the need, and they've been there for you.
Yeah, we've run our programs and our facilities based on demand, and as we've demanded, we've grown. We've grown our staff as demand has asked us to. So it's been a great partnership with our community to do the things for their families and their children that they want us to do.
At Sportsplex, seems like it's just packed every weekend, weekday, weekend. You go out there, the lot's full, and there's a lot of action going on.
Probably 45 weekends out of the year. I would say, probably 40 to 45 weekends. We have big tournaments that draw big draws from teams in different sports: volleyball, basketball, wrestling, taekwondo, cheerleading. It does a lot, just like our outdoor complex, Shawnee does. And there'd be no Sportsplex if there wouldn't have been a Shawnee Park Sports Complex.
Sure.
Shawnee put us on the map for being a destination point for sports, and then so it was an easy sell to try to make the indoor Sportsplex a reality.
You mentioned outdoor. I know recently the city just hosted the Babe Ruth World Series.
Yes.
I'm sure you were involved in a lot of the planning for that.
Our staff was, Michael Minner, a local coach from Charleston, was the one that initiated the arrangement with Babe Ruth, but we also come on as facility support, and our maintenance staff did an outstanding job that whole week supporting those needs. So that was a big one for the community.
Yeah, a few years ago, the Cape Catfish, here, so there's just a lot of activity.
Another great partner.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we want to talk too about the foundation, and if you could just a little bit, tell us how the foundation kind of fits into the whole process.
Well, it was originally started in 1991. It was established to basically do a capital campaign to buy equipment and things that we needed for the Shawnee Park Sports Complex opening and the Osage Center opening.
Okay.
And then for a few short years after that, it was basically a way for people to give us money through a 501c3. But real quick, we realized we needed to do more. So we changed the name of it to the Parks and Recreation Foundation. and made it more of a revenue driver. We created a bunch of events. We host 10 events a year through the foundation, almost one a month, and then we do other programs that drive revenue for our department that helps us buy things that our operating budget cannot provide.
Sure. Some of those events are what?
The big ones, are the Cardinals Caravan. We do the Celebration of Youth Sports Awards Banquet that Fallen Regan from KZIM is our host, and you did that one year for us, I believe.
Did, yeah.
The big one everybody knows is Spaghetti Day.
Sure.
And it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. Breakfast with Santa, several, but those are the biggest.
That youth sports banquet. I was stunned when I went there for the first time as an MC. To see, how many, youth came out. I mean, it was a SB type of event.
That's where the idea came from. We really wanted to do our local hometown version for youth leagues like the SBs, just like the Missourian does SEMO ball.
Right.
And this is for ages, 15 and under. So it
Sure.
gives those kids a chance and those families a chance to come out and recognize coaches, teams, things of that nature. And we give other big awards to the community at that event. So.
All right, you mentioned Spaghetti Day. How long has that been going on for?
I knew you'd ask me that. Probably 20, 25 years. I think we've come up on one of those benchmarks. Yeah. Actually, it was started in 2005. So in 2025 will be our 20th.
Oh wow!
So I had to do a little recall.
There's a few of those different annual meals that happened at the arena building, and that's always on my calendar to make sure that I'm there for that. That's got to be you said that's your biggest foundation event?
Yeah, we raised $40,000 last year. So.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It takes a lot of community sponsors, though. It's so sponsor driven. And that's one thing about Cape Girardeau is a lot of other not-for-profits, and our foundation is not-for-profit. But you find out how involved our community businesses and families are. I'm sure a lot of communities are that way as well, but it would find a community our size that could be beaten for its willingness to give back.
So behind the scenes, Spaghetti Day, are you cooking the food? Are you
logistics? We kind of divide that up. I take a half of it. Penny takes on the marketing side and the food side. I take on the volunteers, the facility, the deliveries, all that kind of stuff. But our staff does far more than me and Penny do. They're all involved from carry out to cooking in the kitchen. It's a fun day. It's hectic. It's like running the kitchen one day in your year, but it's no different. It's a great food event, just like the Lions Club do Pancake Day, just like the Optimists do Chili Day.
All right, you have a play cape right there in front of you. Before we wrap it up, tell us about the play cape that you have.
Well, this is our fall issue. It came out about 3 weeks ago, and we do 3 of these a year. So anything you need to know about us, it's like our go-to guide. This covers from about September to December. It's got all of our events, our leagues, our classes, parks information. If you need to know it, it's in there, and all of our contact information is in there if you need to reach us.
All right. Well, 35 years.
Roughly.
Keep on turning.
Thank you.
And again, congratulations on the Difference Maker Award, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
All right. That's Scott Williams. Coming up, we'll talk with Community Counseling Center Foundation Director Michelle Ramsey. That's next on Cape Chronicle.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama?
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size.